Hello everyone, welcome to this new tutorial. Now we're gonna see how to build a deep learning neural network in Python using Pytorch framework. Pytorch is a deep learning framework which is rapidly growing, and the ecosystem is vastly improving, and it's been actively developed by Facebook, and it's a very good rivalry for the TensorFlow framework. And more people are adopting Pytorch from TensorFlow because the APIs are easy to use. I mean, like, Pytorch APIs are very easy to use than the TensorFlow, and it's very intuitive, and it is also faster than TensorFlow comparatively, and the APIs are very, natural when you're, if you are a Python developer, and it also have the dynamic computation graphs, which is very helpful when you're building a neural network, and you wanted to see the output for each and every layer, and if you are executing each layer and you want to see the output immediately, the dynamic computation graphs is very helpful. Just give very comprehensive information about what is happening in the layer, and you can also have a better understanding about what is happening inside the neural network graph. Whereas in TensorFlow also, in TensorFlow as well, coming up with this option which is called eager execution, but the eager execution is not that fast as like a PyTorch dynamic computation graph, and it also supports GPU computation as well. So it comes with full CUDA support. So if you're building if you're building very large number of nodes network, then definitely you should go for choosing the GPU version of neural network rather than the CPU. For basics, CPU CPU training would be fair enough. So in this tutorial, we're going to see how to set up the basic Pytorch framework, as well as the basic Python setup as well. Let's go and check it out. So here is the Pytorch website, and here you can go, and if you just open this page, it will automatically choose the platform based on the your the system configuration. Currently I'm on Windows, so it is detecting as a Windows platform, and it's showing me the latest version. And you can also go for pip and other installation framework, but I prefer to go with Conda. Conda is very useful if you're in Windows, even in any other platform. So better to go with Conda. That's what I would suggest. And just go with the CUDA latest version as well. So this is the command. Before installing the command, you have to install the Anaconda first in your system. For that, you need to go to the Anaconda website, and then go to the product menu and select the individual edition. And then once you selected the individual edition, then individual edition page, you can just go down and just click download. It will take you to the last session of this page, and you can choose the 64-bit graphic installer if you're in Windows, and choose the respective installation package regarding whatever the platform you're in. So I just clicked and downloaded the 64-bit installer, and once I installed, I got the Anaconda open. And then you can install all these IDEs, whatever the preferable IDEs you are okay to work. Initially, it's good to start with Jupyter Lab, I would suggest. But if in case if I'm going to build the big network, I mean like big neural networks, then I would prefer to go for Visual Studio Code, since I've been working on Visual Studio for a long time. So I would prefer to go Visual Studio Code. But like for the basic learnings, Jupyter Lab would be helpful, because it gives you the line by line code execution output. So definitely it's good to go with the Jupyter Lab. And yeah, initially it would not install all these IDEs, but I mean even some dependency tools also there, and you have to install it, whatever the you have to click install, and then you have to launch it. And if you didn't install, then it will be showing the install button. So if you just click install, it will get installed, and it will show the launch option. Once you install the Python and Pytorch using this command in your command prompt, then everything will be downloaded and ready to run the Pytorch in your system. And so I've done these 2 steps, all set and done now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the Jupyter Lab. Just open the Anaconda Navigator, and then choose the Jupyter Lab. These are the different versions of my Python platform. I would say Python environment. So if you are installing new versions, you can create a new environment using some Conda commands. So that I will tell you on later tutorials. But for this basic tutorial, you can go with the basic Python version. So I'm going to click launch Jupyter Lab. It opens the Jupyter Lab in your browser. So I'm going to create a new file here just by clicking Python 3 notebook. So you can also rename the file the way you want it. I'm going to say it as tutorial. And I'm going to say import torch. So if you just hit play, so it's moving to next line without showing any error, so which means the Pytorch is installed properly in my system. So now you have to create one simple tensor. I will tell you what is tensor. Tensor is okay. I will tell you what is tensor. Torch.tensor. And you need to pass the shape here, 2,3. I just say 2x3 tensor. Tensor is a placeholder in the framework. I mean like which creates some sort of like memory space. You can create a n-dimensional array using the tensor. And now I'm just creating the 2-dimensional array, which is two rows and 3 columns array. This is just a 2-dimensional. Usually all the inputs which we pass into the deep learning framework, which would be multi-dimensional, at least minimum like 3-dimensional, in case if you're going for the computer vision inputs, then obviously you will be passing the 3-dimensional input, which is at least minimum 2-dimensional input, because you will pass the XY pixels, and also pass the dimensions if it is a color pixel, which I would explain when we are moving forward. And so this is the basic tensor. Tensor is a memory, like a placeholder to create the the nodes. using the tensors only, we build the layers, each layers of the deep learning network. So here I've created the simple two-dimensional array, putting two elements. So the array shape is 1, 2. I'm just creating the adding just two elements into an array, and then creating a tensor using that values. So I'm going to add one more tensor, Pytorch tensor. Add just same sort of array. Sorry, create same sort of array with the two elements, 2, 3, and we're gonna do the basic multiplication operation. For the sake of clarity, I'm gonna say print here. Again, you don't have to give print, but I'm just giving for the sake of easiness to understanding. So now you can see the output is tensor. Output is printing in the output tensor, and with values of 4, 9. 4, 9 is nothing but 2 into 2 is like 4, like 3 into 3 from 9. So you just multiply the elements into the respective indices. So, and storing the output in output tensor, and you can also change the value here, and you can see the output. So 6 by 12. So this is the basic multiplication operation, and two tensor get multiplied and stored in the output tensor. And so you can also print the shape of this tensor. Let's say print x dot shape. So the size is 2. So it's just a one-dimensional array. So the size is 2, and you can also create. I think you don't have to give a print. I guess you can directly give just simply x dot shape. It would print the same. There you go. So you don't need to have the print here. So now here we are going to create a multi-dimensional tensor with initialized with 0. For that we just need c is equal to torch dot zeros. Here you need to give the shape of the tensor. Just gonna give let's say 5. Don't get it too complicated. 2, 2. So this is the row and this is the column, and so 2 rows, 2 columns, and 5. The depth is 5. Depth mean, which is like, I would say it's a Z shape. In case if it's a pixel value, it would be like RGB. If it's RGB, then you have to give the shape as 3. Or in case if you are giving very high depth inputs, then you have to give bigger numbers. So if I click play, oh sorry, I need to print this. Okay, let me say X. So there you go, 2, 2 matrix, and in 5. In 5 dimension. Sorry, in the depth of 5. So if you want, you can also create the multi-dimensional array with random values by just saying rand, by using the rand API. So if I just click here, X. So there you go, it's filled with random values. It got initialized with some random values. This might be useful for some. Here you can see the multi-dimensional tensor which filled with some random values, and here you can also print the shape of this x tensor by just saying x dot shape. So it prints exactly the values, the shape values which we have used for creating the tensor. And yeah, you can create even the different size. Tensor 2. It's up to you. You can play around with it, and it's just a basic. So there you go. So this tensor is holding up the plenty of values. Four rows, 3 columns, with a depth of 10. So this is the basic tensor operations, guys. So that's the end of our this tutorial. We are gonna, in our next tutorial, we're gonna see how to build how to deal with the simple data sets, and because data sets are very important in order to build a good model, because it's easy to build the deep learning neural networks by tweaking the parameters, by doing some trial and error. But you need to you have to worry about like collecting the data sets properly, and creating the annotations in case if you're building the image recognition algorithms. So we are going to see how to handle the data sets in our next tutorial. I know it's super quick to jump into the code too early, but still it's good to get your hand dirty in the code rather than just keep looking the theory tutorials. And you can also, this is the tutorial for the people who knows the basic Python and the basic the deep learning steps. Maybe if you guys would have done some stuffs in TensorFlow, or you just scratch the surface of deep learning. So this tutorial is for those guys, not for the person who don't know the basics of Python, because for those people you have to go and learn the Python first, or you have to learn the basics, hoops concept, and all those things. That would be very useful when you after learning all those things, if you come back to this tutorial. So thank you so much, guys.